Okay, welcome to Genius Dreams Education Channel. Today we are going to continue our lesson on Photoshop and we are going to look at how we can design this simple Minds Club party flyer within some few minutes. So please, before you start, subscribe to my channel to get weekly videos on Photoshop and website development. We are going to create our new working space, Control N, and I'm going to use 3 by 3 with a pixel with 300 pixel. So that's the size I'm going to use. So this is my new working space. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a gradient. So I'm going to create a gradient for it and I'm going to choose my color. So preferably I'm going to use this color. Then so I'm going to use this gradient color. Then I'll click on OK. So I'm going to reverse the color. I want it to be in this format. I want to change it. So after that, I'll then click on OK to get my background image as this one. So the next thing is I'll go in for my images and start designing the background. So the first image I want to use is this one. So I'll then transform it out to cover the page. And after that, I'm going to blend it to get a preferred color out of that one. So let's see the blending option and choose from it. So I'm going to use this blending option for this one. So the next thing is I'll go in for my next image. The next image I'm going to use is this image too. I'm going to transform this image out and blend it with the previous images too. So I'm going to check for the blending options and choose from them. Blending mode, that's the linear dodge. So I'm now done with the background image. So let me decrease the opacity of this one small to somewhere about 80. 80 is too much. Let me make it 60. So 60 is okay. Then press enter. So the next thing is I'll go in for my other images. So the next image I'm going to use is this image. And for this image, I'm going to rasterize it. Right click, then I'll rasterize it. So the next thing is I'm going to get rid of this part. So I'll go and select the marquee tool and then come and click here at the edge side. And after that, I'm going to hit on delete to delete that part. And I will do same for this part and delete this part. Then I'll select hit on delete. Then I'll do same, select hit on delete. Then I'll select and hit on delete to get rid of those portions. I'll then press Ctrl D to deselect it to get this image out of that one. So I'm going to decrease the opacity of this image to somewhere about 40%. So this is for 40%. Let me check it for 60 and see the effect. So for 60%, I think 50% is okay. So let me try and blend this one too. So let me blend it to get preferred color. So I'm going to use the color dodge for this part too. So the next thing is I'm going to draw a rectangle at this side. Then I'll then import my last image. So I'll go in for the rectangular tool and draw a rectangle at this side. And this rectangle, I'm going to choose a filling color of white. Then I'll press on enter, and I'll also draw another rectangle here. So for this rectangle, I'm going to choose a filling color of no color. So I'll set the filling color to no color and then set the width to white and increase and set the stroke to white and increase the width of the stroke to 10 pixels and then press enter to get this one out of that. So the next thing is I'll draw a small rectangle here again to represent it. So the next thing I'm going to do is let me make sure this image is on top of the BG. So the next thing is for me to go in for my other images, and these are the other images I'm going to use. I'm going to use this image here. So let me put this image at this side. So I'm going to rasterize this image and then go to Windows to remove the background. Then I'll come here to remove the background. So now as we are waiting for the background to be removed, if you're interested in affiliate marketing too, I'll provide my WhatsApp link in the description part of the YouTube videos. So check the WhatsApp link and message me for your affiliate marketing account to be created for you. Then you can start affiliate marketing as it is one of the ways you can make money online these days. So check in my description button to get a link for your affiliate marketing by WhatsApping me for me to help you through. So now this is our image for now. So I'll go in for the eraser tool. That's the background eraser tool. Okay, so now this is the image after removing the background. So I'm going to click on Ctrl T and transform it to see how it will look like if still. As you can see, after transforming it, the deformity part is somehow not visible. So I'm going to keep it like this without working on it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this my image to top small. So I think here is okay. Sorry for that. So the next thing is I'm going to select my rectangle and pull them down small. So let me pull them down small a little bit and then pull my image to this side, then leave it. So the next thing, let me select this image and increase the opacity to 80 for now, then press on enter. So the next thing is I'm going to take the rest of my images and bring them or add them. So this is the location image and I'm going to put this image here. So let me transform it out. Let me transform it inside. Sorry for that. And then position it here. Then double click. So let me leave it here and then going for my date or time image or logo. So let me come and go and select the logo for the time too. So this is what I'm going to use to show my time where the party will take place. So actually I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to position that one to here. Let me transform it in small. So the next thing is I'm going to group those two images, select them and click on join to group them. Then I'll call them location LOC. So after that, I'm going to change the color of the black color to white. So I'm going to use the clipping mask method to produce the white color of these two images. So I'll first of all select their grouping layers. Then I'm going for the rectangular to draw a rectangle to cover them. Then I'll select the fill in color of the rectangle to be white. Come and then right click on the layer on the rectangle and then click on create clipping mask. And now you can see the white color has been introduced. Then press enter. So the next thing is for us to go in for our test. So I'm going to provide all the tests. Then we look at how we can start the test. Okay, so now I'm done with the test part. So for the test, as usual, you go in for the test two, then you click on any of the working space, then you write your test there. After that, you position them. That's how you go about it to get your test. To get your test. So now the next thing is we are going to look at how we can provide the styling part of this test. So the first thing I'm going to do is to select my club layer. So I'll select the club layer and I'm going to choose a font family for the club layer. So for the font family, I'm going to use the Broadway font family. Then I'm going to increase the size, the font size to somewhere. Let me use 48 and see. So I'm going to increase the font size to 48 to see how it will look like. Then let me position it here. So I think the 48 is okay. So the next thing is I'll go in for the 9th and then bring it here. So let me position this one small little bit and bring the 9th here. Please, sorry. So for the 9th, I'll maintain the font size for this one, that's the Broadway. Not the 9th, I'm going to use Algerian for the 9th. So I'm going to use this font size for the 9th and the party too. So I'll select the party and then choose Algerian for the font family. And you see the font size is 14 with the height of 300% and space between it is 200%. So the next thing is I'm going to group all the text with the box inside the box as one and then position them. So I already have the text here. So I'll select the layer of the text and then select my image two together. So I'm going to make it text img. So text and image. Then I'll move them. Let me ungroup it. So the next thing is I'm going to group this text together with this image as one and position them to the top. So I'll go and select those layers and then press on G to group them. So I'm going to name it as TIMG as test image. Then I'll position them to the top like this. That's too far. So I'm going to keep it like this. And the next thing is to work on this part. So I'm going to provide the styling effect for this part too. So I'll go and select the layer for that. For that one, so I'm going to group that layers, all these layers, I'm going to group them one. And so I'll select all and press on G to group them. And I'll call it as active using a shortcut for this activity in order to remember it. Then I'll position to the top like this. So the next thing is to style them. So I'll go inside and select the layers one by one, starting from the activities. So for the activities, I'm going to choose a font family for it. And the font family, I'm going to use the Murad Pro for the activities. And I'm going to use that same font family for all the text here. So I'll keep the height and the distance in between them to be 200 and 300% respectively. So the next thing is I'll select the live dance show layer and give it the Murad Pro and select the height to 100% and the space in between them to 100%. And after that, I'll then increase the font size to somewhere about 18. Let me make the font size to be 24 and then position it here. So I'll go to the next test and apply the same effect. That's Murad Pro font family. Font height, the height to be 100%, width or the space in between 100%, font size of 24, and lastly position it or align it. So then I'll go in for the next layer, apply the same thing, font family of Murad Pro, and then font size of 24, and then the font height of 100%, space in between them as 100%, and lastly position it. So the next thing is I'm going to produce the same effect for the next layer. I'll select the font family Mirad font size of 24, the font height to be 100%, and then the space in between it as usual 100%. And now then the font size is 24. So after that, I'll lastly position it and align it with the previous test. So I'm then finally going for the last test. And for the last test, I'm going to set it to the same effect, font family, then font size of 24, height of 100, and space in between it as 100, and then align it with the previous test. So now I'm done with those parts. So the next thing I'm going to do is to provide the styling effect for the test down here. So I'll go and select those layers as usual, give them. So the font family I'm going to use for those tests, I'll use the blue way, and I'll increase the font size here to 18, and then align it and leave it. So for the 10 to, I'll select it and choose the font family, the same font family, and I'll maintain the font size as the 11 with the height of 200%, 200%. So I'll then move on and select the next one, which is the PM, the same font family blue way. I'll keep the font size the same and the height and the distance in between them to same as this one, and do same for the location too. And the location Genius Public and Fair Play. That's how it is being read. We select the font family for this and choose your font size, your preferred one for that, and align them or adjust them to be in position as I've done here. So now we are done with the testing part. So the next thing is I'm going to position this image at the middle part of this. So I will select that layer, and then with the move tool, let me position it here. So this is all what it is about. So we are done with this flyer. The next thing is for us to get a color effect. You see the black color is not all that nice or not attractive. So we are going to produce a color effect for this one. So I'm going to give one color to the text for at the top here. So I'll click on control. I'm going to group all those parts, those tests. I'm going to select those layers and group them. So this is the image or the layer for the ninth club. So I'll select it and go in for an image to produce the color effect for that part. And I'm going to use this image here, and I'm going to create clipping marks to produce the color for it. So after creating the clipping mask, I will then blend it. So I'm going to use the lighter color as the blending mode or the blending option for this image. So that same image, I'll come and add this image to it to produce another test effect. So I'll adjust it here and then click on it and create clipping marks. After creating the clipping mark, this is what I'm going to get. And I'm going to blend it with the background image. So I'm going to keep this one, the blending mode, to be vivid light. So the next thing is I'll go and select this group of layers too and provide a color effect to that part. So I'll go to the activities layer and select that layer. So that layer comprises of the live. Okay, so I'll select that and then select an image and drag it to cover that layer and click on it to create a clipping marks effect as usual. So I'm going to use this image for that part. So I'll click on this layer, right click, then click on it to create the clipping marks effect. Control T and transform it a little bit to cover this part. So the next thing is I'm going to blend this one to the first color to see the outcome we can get. So let me keep it to the difference. Let me press Ctrl T, transform it to cover the S part, then press on Enter. So I'm going to use another image to also produce another effect on that same text. So I'm going to use this image. So right click and click on create clipping marks. So after that, blend it to see the preferred color you get. So I'm going to use the light color. So the next thing is to get a color tool for the text within the boxes here. So let's go and select all those text and group them. So I'm going to select starting from the Fiapre, the Pub, Genius, and so on. I'm going to group all those tests together with the pen and then click on G. So after clicking on the G, I'm going to name it as loc test, that's location test. So let me go inside and remove this image. Let me click on it and ungroup it and then select them again. So let me press Ctrl and deselect this image from it. Click on G. Then let me label it loc test, that's location test. Then come here, right click and create our clipping marks. Right click, clipping marks. Let me delete that part from it and then include the image again. So that was the activities part. Let me select that layer and then go in for the image again to produce my effect. So right click and then click on create clipping marks. So let me go in for the image again and then drag it to come and produce my effect. So right click and then click on create clipping mask. So then we are going to blend it to the light. I'm going to keep it at the vivid light blending mode. So the next thing is for us to select this text and produce this color effect too. So that's the layer here. So I'm then going to select the preferred color I'm going to use for that text, and probably I'm going to use this same image here. So I will then click on it to create clipping marks to get this color out of that. So now you can see we are done with the color of the testing part. So the next thing I'm going to do is to select all the text and produce a shadow or create a shadow for them. I'm going to select this text and then select this text. Then so after selecting them, I'm going to click on G to group them. I will label it. I'm just going to add a drop shadow to it. So now you can see the drop shadow has been added, and I'm going to adjust the distance more to get a preferred one as I want. So I'm going to keep this one, and let me add some little stroke to it. So when I add the stroke to it, this is how the color is now going to turn or going to look like as compared to this one. So this and this one, which one looks nice? Then you choose from it. So let me go here, come here and adjust the side of the stroke. So now we are done, and I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to select this layer and add the stroke effect to that layer. So that's the ninth part. So I'll select it and then click on here. So when I click on here, I'm then going to add the stroke to it. So I'm going to adjust it small. So this one is okay. I'm going to keep it like this. So I'm going to use the white color. Click on OK. So now as you can see, we are almost done with the styling of that part or our text. So the next thing I'm going to do is to increase the opacity of this image. So I'm going to increase the opacity of this image to actually the 100%. Then I'll press enter and leave it like this. So now as you can see, we are done with this flyer. So the next thing is I'm going to select all of them and add hue and saturation to it. So I'm going to select all of the layers. So control, then we are going to select all of them After selecting them, you add hue and saturation. So press on G. Then you come to this layer, add hue and saturation to it. So let's go and adjust it to choose our preferred color mixing. So I'm going to keep it as this one. So the next thing is I'm going to also add some curves to it. This one makes it bright. And lastly, I'll add brightness and contrast to it. So let me adjust it. So I'm going to keep it to this part and leave this one to this side. And now we are done with this flyer. So that's how our night club party flyer looks like. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel to get weekly videos on Photoshop and website development. Goodbye.